villains out there. Doesn't matter. Keep your swagger.
Hey, welcome into the Five Hole Fantasy Hockey Podcast, the fantasy hockey podcast that is greatly looking forward to Steven Stamkos' tryout for the Canadian pole vaulting team in 2028. I am your solo host, at least for the time being, Alan. Jay let me know 5 minutes before the show started that he had a power outage. So, again, weird thing this season. If I had a nickel for each time that happened, I'd only have 2 nickels, but it's weird that it's happened twice. But yeah, before we get into the show, before we get into the show here, as always, we ask that you subscribe to us on YouTube. You know, like the video if you did actually like it, or even if you didn't, just to be a nice person. Good vibes will come your way, and follow the podcast on your app of choice. Subscribe to us there, and if you haven't already, you can check out our Discord community, over 3,000 members. Talking all things hockey. Like, I know, what was it? There was discussion of Jake Wallman, like where we think he lands once everything is settled. And then you can follow us on Twitter too. Slide into our DMs, one of the greatest powers that Grok has yet to offer. But yeah, and then of course our website, FHFhockey.com. One last thing I did want to plug: Dobber Hockey does have their mid-season guide out. They have not given me a free copy. They're not paying me to do this. I just, of my own free will, just plugging this thing. I did pick it up myself. I think it's great, and it's only $10. To paraphrase a buddy of mine, I feel like we've all eaten subpar burgers that cost more than that. So if that helps you frame, that the cost really not much. First, it's got some great value, great tips in there. Kind of like almost some insider stuff. Really nice. But yeah, here tonight with your shutdown shift, your preview of the weekend. Hopefully, help you shut down your opponent and secure that W. And once again, I always forget to turn on the slides right away, but I did remember to put the Discord in the link of the video. It should be there this time. But storylines, probably one of the biggest storylines in the last 24, 48 hours. I think 48. Dean Evison relieved as head coach of the Blue Jackets. Rick Bowness is now the new head coach at a spry 70 years old. Like I was telling a neighbor of mine who is a Blue Jackets fan, it's like, I wish I could just get out of bed and just be like, you know what? I got a call. I'm going to go coach an NHL team today. That sounds like a plan there. So he is known for a kind of like more defensive style of hockey, which would be nice. This team has failed to secure several multi-goal leads since the beginning of the month, beginning of the year here. Hopefully that works in their favor. Hopefully Elvis becomes a meaningful goalie in fantasy. I know that Jack Greaves is already there. I'd say he's replacement level, but hopefully this helps him get better too. Also known giving younger players meaningful roles in ice time, guys like Perfetti in Winnipeg, Robo, Hintz. And then he was the head coach of the Dallas Stars after Jim Montgomery was let go, took them to the Stanley Cup final in that Bubble Cup back in 2020, and then was head coach of Winnipeg from the 22 to 24, and then he quote retired after that contract was up. So he has said the first order of business, team defense, all right, goal shots, chances against, and we do have a sample size of 1 for this guy. Ken Johnson, Adam Fantilli, probably some of the most ice time they've seen this season. Ken Johnson, 2055 last night in that game against Calgary, which they did win 5-3, I believe. But kind of makes me raise an eyebrow here, and a lot of things do, is this is only till the end of the season. Like, there's no kind of multi-year deal in place for this, but I guess this could just be, I don't know. I heard the conspiracy theory that this could just be like, hey, this is that is the guys from Office Space, where they come in and they ask everyone, what do you do here? just to see like who's a good fit for the culture, who should stay, who they should package and sell for spare parts. But yeah, moving on here, Connor Ingram, just worth mentioning. And, maybe I gave up too soon on him. So he has above a 900 save percentage in 6 of his 7 starts he's gotten since being called up, and above a 920 in 3 of them. You got to think he's got to be the backup when Tristan Jarry returns, who did come off IR yesterday. I don't know if they do with Pickard, though, or do they carry 3 goalies? I think we'll should get an answer to this soon, because apparently after the 18th of this month, if I did the math right, he will need to pass through waivers again to get sent back down. So hopefully they decide before then. But you gotta think he's been better than Pickard. So you gotta find a way to keep him. Other than good vibes and power of friendship. Sorry, Pickard. And then last up, I think this came in after I'd already made the slides, but Alex Texier, current hotness on the Montreal Canadiens, signed a 2-year, $2.5 million AAV extension. Again, I don't know. This could be sort of a bridge deal, prove it deal. I still am not convinced that he is a bona fide top line player, but I mean, hey, they seem to be doing all right with him there. We'll keep an eye on that. But I mean, I don't know. Who knows? This could turn into, I don't know. The best example I could think of was like a Matthew Nyes, someone who just plays with like your most elite players, who isn't like elite himself, but still drop you like 60 points a season. So we'll see. And then injuries. Oh, it hurt to watch, and it also hurt to watch. But Braden Point, Tampa Bay Lightning, is considered week to week after suffering an injury to his knee. Kind of got tripped up in front of the net there, just went down on it, just bad. Like it's one of those like that should not bend that way kind of thing. But luckily, just sounds like he has avoided the worst. Not an MCL, ACL tear. He is not out for the season. As for his Olympic availability, we don't know yet. So yeah, keep an eye on him. I'll get a little bit more into who kind of replaced him last night, or who we should kind of look at as maybe a point replacement later in the show. And the Pittsburgh Penguins, Brian Rust returned from illness from a lower body injury. Bad notes. But of course took his spot top power play. But now Erik Karlsson is now in the IR. They're saying for multiple weeks is the report. Yeah, you got to go check on Chris Letang. That power play is, at least as of, I think when I was filling these notes out like Monday, that power play is tied for second best this season at 29.1. They're tied with Dallas, and the only team better than them is Edmonton. And I mean, that kind of doesn't surprise me. I knew they'd come down a little bit. I think they were much higher on point, but yeah, you're playing with elite guys like Sidney Crosby, Rackle and Rust, and I forget who else is on that. Probably Malkin's on that power play too. Chris Letang. I mean, he was a solid fantasy asset for years before they traded for Erik Karlsson. Unfortunately, he was only available in one league I am in. I did make sure to scoop him up. Dropped Morgan Riley, who I will not miss at this point for him. Go check. Seriously, just go check for Chris Letang. He's, at least as of this morning, I think he was still only like 42% owned. Then the Edmonton Oilers. Yeah, like I said, Tristan Jarry and Jake Wallman both activated off IR on Tuesday. Jarry did get the start, last night, but kind of blew that OT coming a little too far out of the net. Yikes. And then Jake Wallman, I didn't get a good look at his deployment, but I gotta imagine this is probably second pairing, power play 2. And I think even if Bouchard gets injured, like I was telling someone in Discord, I feel like even if Bouchard gets injured, they might give Ekholm a shot before they give Wallman. Who knows, though? It doesn't seem like Bouchard misses a whole lot of time. But yeah, I'd say Wallman could be a sneaky ad. I think before he went out, he had 10 points in 17 games, decent peripherals. But I think the Oilers have 3 more games this week, so could be could be a nice little 4th, 5th defenseman stream. Miro Heiskanen, Dallas Stars, taking personal leave for a family matter, is believed to be short term. Oh, and then on top of that, I did see that a couple hours ago that Corey Perry is also taking leave again to take care of that same family member. Yeah, let's get into the weekend. So again, it's kind of tough. There aren't any teams that really give you multiple starts if you try to grab them. So no Thursday, Friday, Sunday to really kind of optimize the Friday, Sunday, get 3 games in 4 nights. Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, the only team that has that schedule, unless I really missed one here, is Edmonton. Kasperi Kapanen, 19%. Congratulations to all of you on Yahoo, including myself, who helped make him the most added player Monday morning. I think he's only had one assist so far. I think he got last night. And then, yeah, like I said, Jake Wallman, someone to just go check on. And then Tristan Jarry, I did make it just go check on him. If you're dealing with goalie injury or just trying to find something, run 3 goalies or something. I know I try to run 3 starters. Tristan Jarry is 52%, mostly owned out there. But the Friday, Sunday teams, you got Detroit. James Van Riemsdyk, I really thought his ownership would shoot up more. But he's only 2%, at least as of when I wrote these notes. And if you picked him up for Monday, you were rewarded with that power play goal he got, but then had nothing last night because Detroit got shut out. You can still just go check on Patrick Kane, 40% owned. Again, I don't know why he's not on power play 1. I mean, I get it. JVR is the net front guy. You're probably not going to put Patrick Kane there. You probably need to bump one of Lucas Raymond or Alex DeBrincat, which I get it, but still, Patrick Kane, the man is a peacock. You got to let him fly. But no, looking at other guys here on the team, I think Jay might have been onto something. I do think he'll be hard to get in on. Well, no, it's Friday, Sunday, so you should be able to get him in because I think he's center only. Alex, is he Alex Kopp? Oh, come on. Andrew Kopp. There we go. It's one of those A names. I deal with that all the time. My brothers and I both have A names. 7 points in his last 8 games should definitely be available. I'm still not touching the guys that are strapped to Larkin right now. Finney and Casper, I'm just not interested. I feel like they're up there to try to get them going, and it's not working. But again, if you need riffs for this team, your usual suspects, Ben Sherratt, Simone Edmondson, and St. Louis. This one, tough team to stream for a man. This is hard to try to find guys that are actually on a little bit of hot streaks. But Pavel Buchnevich, definitely available out there, 19%. He's 3 points in his last 6. Jake Neighbors kind of does what you would normally stream Shen for, like your riffs, but he does it better, seems like. Nathan Walker, if you need hits, good God, I think he had like 10 or 14 hits in his last couple games here, something ridiculous. But I feel like this is a team where a lot of these guys are going to be pretty available, with the exception of, I think, Rob Tom, Falk. I think Colton Parayko, if you need someone to try to give you some category coverage, he was around. Just go check territory. So we're taking a look on him. But yeah, I think just some Falk's going to be mostly owned up. And then Kyrou, I'm sure, is mostly owned up too. And now the last team here, Tampa. So yeah, terrible watching that replay. But who fills in for him? So it looks like the earliest lines that came out is they had Nick Paul centering Kucherov and Kuznetsov or Guntz. Yeah, and yeah, Ryan in the chat here. Kyrou's downfall hard to. Yeah, it's weird. I don't know. I kind of think Kyrou might just be one of those guys. He gets a change of scenery and pops. Like, I don't know, if Montreal traded for him and put him on that top line, I could really see him popping off. But yeah, and then line 2 in Tampa last night was Hagel, Cirelli, Gonçalves. So Gonçalves still maybe worth the stream there. Hagel and Cirelli are a force together. They probably want to keep them together as much as possible for the Olympics because they are both on the Canadian team there. Keep that chemistry going. because they play together in pretty much all situations. Even strength penalty kill. I don't think they're really on the power play. But Hagel was the one that moved up in points placed to power play 1. So Oliver Bjorkstrand still going to be the only way you're getting that power play 1 access there on a stream. And then, like I said, top of the week, probably the only really guys that offer much category coverage on this team are Eric Chernak. If you want hits, probably Pims. And Charles Edouard Destu, if you want blocks. And he does stumble backward into the occasional point. Seems like he's got a little bit of chemistry with Cooch. It's nice to watch. Then goalie streams. So not as many kind of back-to-backs to try to target as far as streaming goalies from, but Anaheim and LA do play each other in a back-to-back, home and away, because it's probably like a 4-hour bus ride to each arena on a good day. I don't know if I'd maybe an Anton Forsberg spot stream, but I'd focus more on the forwards for those games than trying to get a goalie stream. Carolina, you got they're home at Florida, at New Jersey. I don't know. Freddie Anderson just had himself a pretty good game. I've had to drop Bussy in a couple spots, not because he's bad, just because he's I don't know. He was just kind of ended up being the lowest guy in the totem pole as far as like who I wanted. I don't know. I think whoever gets the jersey start, I would be more. Well, I might be more into, but Jersey seems to be turning it up. I think the reverse chinks worked on Sunday, because I think they scored 3 against Winnipeg, and then they scored 5 in the Hughes Bowl on Monday or Tuesday. Put 5 past Mini. But yeah, I'm not sure I'm interested there. Florida, they're at Carolina, at Washington. Tarasov, not a bad start, especially if they do in fact get Matthew Tkachuk back this weekend. It sounds like he's close to return. Sounds like it sounds like Marchand is more of a certainty for this weekend. Matthew Tkachuk is a possibility. But yeah, I'm not sure which game Tarasov would get. Maybe the Washington game. And then Nashville, I really don't like those matchups at Colorado. That's probably the game that UC Saros gets. Justus Sununen probably gets Vegas, who, I don't know. That's a dice roll. I know Vegas has kind of been struggling a little bit as of late, but I don't know if I'd be willing to bet a Nashville start on against Vegas there. And then Saturday, Sunday, there's only 2 teams that have those back-to-backs. Edmonton, but now with Tristan Jarry back, unless they make a move, this could get tricky. You're basically looking at spot starting against Vancouver or St. Louis, both teams that I'd feel pretty good about. I'd feel pretty good against either team, really, especially Vancouver. St. Louis, that could be a coin flip. I don't know, man. St. Louis, especially when they play Hofer. Hofer's actually been really, well, not really good, but pretty good for them. I was looking at his stats earlier today. I kind of agree with Ryan. Saros to play against Colorado, get filled in, but I don't know. There was that game earlier in the season. Where was it? Nashville won, but it was like just kind of one of the flukiest, craziest things that happened. But again, Nashville came out of that with the W. I think it was in overtime. The other Saturday, Sunday back-to-back is Ottawa versus Montreal at Detroit. No word if Allmark will be back yet. No word if I think James Reimer is backing up tonight. So it's a possibility that James Reimer could get one of those starts. I don't know if I like either one of those matchups enough to try and spot stream something off that. Nashville plays. Well, I feel like they play them so much. That Nashville plays Colorado so much, like they're bound to get quite a few wins. It was like, oh my gosh, at one point when they were still Arizona, like for some reason, I don't know if just Colorado, the Avs just decided they wouldn't show up or limp ticket, but like Arizona used to be like kryptonite for Colorado. Like it'd be like a 6-5 game, but Usually Arizona, a lot of times, more often than not, it felt like Arizona came out of those the winner, which is crazy. But looking at next week, so best schedules, you got friggin' 12 teams that have 4 games, 3 off nights. There's a lot of teams in general, 4 games. Yeah, Nashville sneaky close. They're just, I don't know, man. It was ever since Barry Trotz was I just need more from my guys. Apparently that's all you gotta do. He's been getting more. And then yeah, just looking at how Stamkos has changed his play to go from those like kind of I'm assuming they're mid danger from the dot there to more like the high danger shooting like right up in the goalie's face. Seems to be working out for him. We're seeing a little bit of that Stamkos of old. I don't want to call it a Stamkos-essence. I don't that doesn't have the pizzazz to it. But yeah, 4 games, 3 off nights. You got a lot of them here. Anaheim, Calgary, Chicago, Colorado. But I feel like most everyone's owned up on that team. Dallas. Speaking of Dallas, yeah, Miro Heiskanen. This is Harley owners, man. This is our time to shine. We held him for this moment. Unfortunately, he didn't get anything last night, but I'm hoping that Miro misses like a week. Like I hope everything's okay, but I'm hoping he misses like a week and Harley just goes ham with it. It'd be nice. To get that draft capital vindicated. New Jersey, another team, 4 games, 3 off nights. Ottawa, Pittsburgh. Some nice streaming teams here. Seattle, yeah, Pittsburgh. Like I like Chinikov has a couple goals in his games there already. Seattle, I feel like some of those guys are almost criminally underowned. Guys like McCann, Tolvanen, and Toronto, also Vancouver, and then Vegas Golden Knights. So worst schedules, you only have 2 teams here. 2 games, 1 off night. You got LA and Utah. I feel like, yeah, LA, you got the guys you drafted. You're really not going to stream too many from them. I don't know if at this point Brent Clark is with his deployment. I don't know if he's droppable for the week. But some of these guys, I would say you're probably fine to drive. Utah, I mean, I know like Schmaltz, you gotta hold him. Dilliguns, you gotta hold it. Like JJ Paterka might be someone I draw the line on potentially dropping. Yeah, that's it. So man, yeah, blew through that quick. So with that, I do have a mailbag question. Let me downsize my face a little bit. Mailbag question from Colin McNeil 10 in Discord. He's asking, should he buy low in Shesterkin? Obviously for playoffs. In his playoff format, they're expected to play 20 games. Okay. All right. I gotta hold on. It's there.
You've got mail.
Mailbag.
There we go. All right. I did it. Yeah. So the Rangers play 20 games, 10 of which are off nights. The key, in his opinion, and I like this. This is good thinking, especially for goalies. So he's made a note of the back-to-backs. So during their entire playoff schedule, which I think is like 2 weeks, 1 week, if I read that right. Let me pull up that question in Discord. So yeah, so round 1 was March 9th to the 22nd. March 23rd to April 5th was the second round, and then third round. So it's almost like 2 weeks each. Or well, the last round is like 10 days, week and a half. So in during this entire playoff period, he says they have 4 back-to-backs, but 3 of them occur. Thanks for getting the mail. But 3 of them occur in round 1 of the playoffs, and 1 in round 2 in the finals. So he's planning on having a bye. He's like, his team's shaping up. He's in a 3-way tie for first, leading in points for first and second, get a first round bye. So if he'd get the bye, he'd only have to worry about a single back-to-back each week. And then another note. Yeah. I've seen people talk about this. I don't know. I feel like it was a pretty mixed bag with 4 nations last season, but he is trying to consider the Olympics, obviously being of Russian descent. Not exactly welcome in international tournaments. I really want to make a very dark joke in there, but I'm good. But yeah, he's not playing in the Olympics, so this would give him some additional time to get healthy, completely healthy, and then just be rested. So he's the trades he's looking at. He'd have to send a goalie back the other way. His goalies are Sorokin, Gustafsson, and Spencer Knight. So I think the offer he's keying in on here is Gustafsson and Eichel for Kempe, Tuck, and Shesterkin. I do like the Tuck trade could, or including Tuck in that trade, could be a 40 chess move. Tuck is a name I've seen mentioned in trade talks to the Rangers. But again, my biggest concern with the Rangers is we don't know what they're going to look like come playoffs, right? Like I forget the exact math I saw, but in order for them to hit one of those wild cards, they have to go on like a 12-game win streak or something crazy, or pace for some ridiculous amount of points. So if they're sellers, yeah, I mean, who's Tuck going to be playing with, right? I mean, I got to imagine he'll get top 6, probably power play 1, depending on who's moved there. I'd like the buy low on Kempe. I'm kind of glad I traded. I feel like I sold him high earlier in the season. I forget what the exact trade was I did there, but I felt like it's like I am selling high on Kempe. And then I think right after that, he signed his extension. So I'm like, sweet, he's got the bag. He's going to coast from here. And I know, yes, underlying stats, it's not sustainable, whatever, but I don't know, man, he could be coasting. He could not be, but yeah. So if the Rangers get worse, that means the team in front of them get worse. Shesterkin may not get as many wins. I forget if Colin said this was a categories, a points league. He did not. Okay. He'll probably still put up good rate stats because he, as an individual goalie, is good. My only concern is that team defense in front of him, and is he going to get scoring or score support? Because let me look at how that game is going tonight with Jonathan Quick in net, because it was not good. Oh, 6-1. Okay, the Rangers finally scored. There we go. Colin says it's a points league. Yeah, I'd be okay with keeping him there. You just won't get the wins. I don't know how valuable those wins are to you. But I would say, buy low on Shesterkin, especially while he's injured. That is the perfect time to buy low on these guys. And then, like I mentioned, Matthew Tkachuk earlier, I still feel like before he plays one game, now's the time to try to buy him low. Or wait and see if he plays that one game and he's only at like 70% and it's obvious. Maybe then try to buy low on him. Maybe you could even it's like, hey man, he's, that injury's really still nagging him. Maybe you can get him. But buy low on Shesterkin, I'd go for it. Yeah, especially with that number of games. Again, just be wary of, that team in front of him may not get much better. Drop laughing. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Yeah, and I'm kind of glad. Well, I'm not glad I traded Zibanejad, but I've heard names like Zibanejad, Trocheck out there as potential trade pieces. I think especially with how starved the market is for good centers, I think New York would be silly not to move them to get something from them, especially Trocheck being much older. Zibby having just a season, sell high on him. Reasonable offer. I do think Gus and oh my gosh, I'm blanking on the other dude. Yeah, I do think Gustafsson will split starts with Wallstead, for the rest of the season. So you're going from a split start guy or a tandem guy or maybe a 1B up to a bona fide starter. Nothing wrong with that. And yeah, I think Kempe, everything is there for Kempe to turn it back up. I'm sure it'll help them getting Kopitar back. And Tuck, even if he doesn't get traded to New York, I don't know, man. It'd be very interesting if Buffalo is still playing meaningful hockey down the fantasy stretch. But yeah, I would say the way you win the trade is if it helps you win your league. But yeah, I'm not opposed to that trade at all. Yeah, if you think you're I think I'm for that trade. Wish I Jay I'm sure Jay would agree only based on the grounds that schedule. That is, he is bound to the schedule. But yeah, hopefully New York. I don't know if they bounce back into a playoff spot, but hopefully they don't strip it down to the bolts and then Shesterkin is just standing on his head night after night, giving you like 800 save percentage and just blowing you up. But I do like the amount of starts he gets, especially in a points league. But yeah, last thing I wanted to, maybe keep the show a little shorter. I will only cover one of the teams I wanted to. So since this seemed to work so well for Jersey on Sunday, I wanted to reverse jinx another team. I'm going with Anaheim. And I'm seeing a lot of kind of in the zeitgeist about like, oh my God, like why are they so bad? Like these guys aren't scoring that were just so incredible at the start of the season. Why is Dostal suddenly turned into a pumpkin? And this is something Jay and I kind of brought up earlier in the season. They were absolutely redlining, like that shooting percentage was not going to stay. So they won their game last night though. So this is before last night. They were 0-8-1 in the last 3 weeks. They were last in goal differential at -23. But the shot differential, that was probably one of the bright spots, is they were still out shooting their opponents 30-28. Of note, it seems like the average team shooting percentage this season is about 11-12%. So I remember at the beginning of the season, they were, I think it was like 15. I think it was higher than 15, maybe. It was something that was absolutely going to come down. These percentages are at 5-on-5. They almost literally went from like 0 to 15% in that first 15 games. Like it was a pretty steady incline looking at the chart. And then they've been hovering at about 9%, give or take a point, since about game 24. With some dipping, sometimes they're dipping as low as 6-7%. I apologize to any kids or parents whose kids just lost their minds. 6-7%. They're currently at 7.58% for the last 3 weeks. I forget where that places them. Can't be anywhere good though. But they had guys like Kreider, who I know I picked up. I knew it was unsustainable, completely unsustainable shooting. He had a 29.4% through 15 games. He's now personally down to more respectable shooting percentage, more in line with his career. But now his shots per 60 are noticeably lower than what we can expect from this guy. And that could just be team around him. It could just be, again, he is, well on the wrong side of 40, not 40, 30. Thinking to myself, well on the wrong side of 30, just, how much could he possibly have left in the tank, especially on that Ducks team? And then also you got the team defense showing cracks here. That team save percentage went from a peak at about 93%, game 22 down to 84.7. Again, I just pretend to know math here on a fantasy hockey podcast. That's significant. That's not good. And then so far, this is Dostal's worst season for his save percentage at high danger chances, 774. Average for the league is around 800, 830. Even Mrazek was getting 787, so below average in his starts. So there is some goaltending deficiency there, and maybe some of it's on them. But the good news is Mr. Corsi says they're still better than average at controlling possession. They're 12th in the last 3 weeks. They were bound to regress. But this could also swing the other way. But a lot of their studs, these guys that everyone was bragging that they got at the start of the season, they're still doing a lot of the right things. They're shooting. I know that, yes, Cutter Gautier's shots have come down some, but he's still doing better than a lot of guys out there who pace at like 1.5, 2 shots a game. But so is his ice. His time on ice has come on down. But some of these guys, I think the most important thing to consider with especially these rising stars, Leo Carlson, Cutter Gauthier, Bennett Senek. These are kids, like literally, and in the game, they're kids. Carlson is only going to hit 200 games this season. Cutter Gauthier right now only has 128 games in his belt. Bennett Senek has less than 100 games. We have no idea what this kid is, or if that 15% shooting he has is real. Breakout for average player takes between 200 and 400 games. I think it's what we're finally seeing with Slavkovsky in Montreal. Like he's a bigger guy. Like the urban myth is that the larger guys take longer to break out. But we're finally seeing it. And I think a lot of it was putting him on the second line. He's just really killing it. He just may not be a good fit with Suzuki and Caulfield. That happens. On paper, those are your guys, those are your best players. They should gel, but sometimes they don't. It's just like in Carolina, Ehlers finally seemed to be doing things. I still don't think he'll be better than he was in Winnipeg. But Ehlers took a minute to get going, and it kind of involved taking him off that top line, which they seemed to glue him to. But yes, the thing is, I would be patient with these guys, like the veterans, the guys we know, the guys we have data for, like Mikhail Granlund, Chris Kreider. There's I don't know. There's more data there to see and say, oh, well, their time on ice is way down, so they're not able to do as much, or they're not shooting as much. It's easier to find out why they're not doing anything. But yeah, these rising studs, hang on to them. I mean, someone might try to buy them off of you, but you're not going to get the value you would have gotten if you tried to sell high at the top of the season. But yeah, again, I feel like I put all these notes together for these teams I'm trying to reverse jinx, and just it works because they beat the Stars last night. But I think Carlson and someone else was out, so it didn't involve any of these guys I was just talking about. But yeah, how much time am I at? Oh, you know what? Maybe I got time. I'll go ahead and do the other team. So I was going to attempt to reverse jinx Winnipeg here. President's Trophy team last season to lottery team. I definitely think they overachieved last season. And then losing Ehlers without much of an upgrade, just not really helping them. And I don't know, man, I'm starting to warm up that crow on Jonathan Toews. I forget how many points he has in his last few games, but he is still not someone I would touch. Stream at your own risk, but he's not someone I would touch personally. But they were 2-5-2 in the last 2 weeks. I forget if that includes winning against Jersey. Anyway, but they're middle of the pack in goals for per game. Okay, bottom half in goals against per game, but they only have a -4 goal differential. They're keeping those games close at least. They finished last year at a 3.44 goals for per game. So okay, they haven't fallen that far from where they were last year, but their 2.33 goals against per game was best in the league last year by far. President's Trophy winners. Which I don't know. My bias here, and it was slightly confirmed, is that the Winnipeg Jets are a mediocre, below average team held up by Connor Hellebuck's Vezina goaltending. Like if something happens to Hellebuck, like they're sunk, and I think that's why they are where they are now. But the shot differential almost dead even, 25.8 to 25.2. But they are middle of the pack in shooting percentage, 11.6. Like I think it's a several way tie with several teams. So the shots, nothing to I don't think they're anything to worry about. But their power play in the last 3 weeks, only converting at 8.7%. Only Buffalo is worse at the moment. They're not 0 anymore, but Buffalo is still worse. But yeah, you got Scheifele, Kyle Connor, KFC, and Josh Morrissey. They're all trending to have very similar seasons to the way they did last year. Nothing really over under that's sticking out. Redlining, or what's be the opposite of redlining? Like blacklining? Not lining. Like the lights go out. I don't know. But they're 23rd in Corsi for percentage, 48.55. So they're not getting caved in, but they're not exactly controlling play. And I kind of agree with Ryan. this is a team that just really needs depth scoring, and it just sucks because they're not exactly a destination. To make the Buffalo joke, they have taxes and they don't have palm trees. And what was I remember when the PLD for Patrick Laine trade happened, like the joke was that, like, one of them was going to the Ohio of Canada and one was going to the Winnipeg of the US. It's just hard for them to attract talent. Who can he add? I don't know. It just seems like anyone on this team not named Scheifele, Connor, Morrissey, even Iafallo to some extent, or is it? No, Velarde, really doesn't score much. May just come in bursts. But okay, so they were sitting at a 915 team save percentage at game 19 before Connor Hellebuck went out. This was already starting to decline from its peak at 933. So before last night's game, they were sitting at a team 890. So that's just Eric Comrie definitely did them no favors. And I think, I don't know, this is Connor Hellebuck left in November for knee surgery. He admitted he wasn't playing his best, but he just hasn't been delivering that same Vezina caliber performance night after night this season, especially against quality opponents. If you look, their box scores, they're winning against guys they should, kind of the bottom feeders or teams you expect to be at the bottom. But the second they face like an Edmonton or someone who's got a lot of firepower, he's sunk. So he is barely treading above 0 in goals saved above average. Right now he's at a 299 versus, he's 3 versus 41.11 like he had last year. And then his goals saved above expected, he is 18.56 this season as opposed to 49.48 last season. He's just not giving them that league best goaltending season after, or like he has been season after season. And I don't know. I feel like he came back on the early side of that 4 to 6 week time frame. So I'm not confident that he took all the time he needed to completely heal from that. Or maybe he's healed up enough to play, but it's almost like he's maybe still doing some physical therapy behind the scenes. He's not 100%. And I think that's what's killing them is they need that to backstop them. Because especially I was trying to look at differences in their decor over last year, and I'm like, oh, they really didn't make any changes. And I think we made that a point in the season previews. They just didn't. It's just hard for them to attract good talent. And now it sounds like Luke Shen wants out. He's playing on their third pairing, but still very serviceable guy. Hits a lot. Doesn't help that I think there's just a couple other D guys just went week to week. I think it was like Hayden Fleury, maybe Pionk. I know I've seen his name tossed around a lot lately, just kind of in and out of the lineup. Yeah, it's no bueno. And then even if they do go on some miraculous run, Hellebuck jumps out of bed tomorrow like the Grandpa Charlie from Willy Wonka or the Grandpa Joe. There we go. He jumps out of bed like Grandpa Joe from Willy Wonka. I don't know if that like really does them any favors, because again, like even the GM of the Blues gets it, man. Like, why do you want to make the playoffs in the Central Division just to get paired up against Colorado? No, a different, or Hayden, I think it was Hayden Fleury is in Winnipeg. But yeah, just already very thin defensive talent, not great defensive talent. Trouble getting defensive score or depth scoring, which is probably why their goals for per game is dipped like half a goal. I'd like to see that quantified. Like, can you shoot like half a puck into the net? But anyway, yeah, I'm glad. Awesome. And I still kept the show at a nice little length. Jay, I hope you get your power back. But yeah, I will go ahead and bring her on in for a landing. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Florida, Jay will be in charge of Sit Start Saturday. I will be recording audio only for the Week 16 preview. I'll have that set to shoot out there into the nether Saturday or Sunday, but we'll definitely be back. Love you guys. Take care of each other.
turd nuggets.